Hello everyone, this is Kendrick for Viral. I am glad to be here. First things first, let's get to Viral. Where is this a Royal Rumble? No, not that Royal Rumble with wrestling going on this January. Is erupting in the royal family. That's what I'm talking about. Well, you have heard the reports of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle declaring their independence and want to move away from the UK and move to Canada or commute back from the UK and Canada. Which a lot of people saying the taxpayers are saying in Canada and the UK how that's going to work out like that. And there's a lot going on with that, including like they want to take less roles of their royal responsibilities and have separate independent lives away from their family. Well, this story has shocked the world upside down and in between. Well, let's go back and see how this whole drama between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family came about. Watch this.
Prince Charles, Prince William, and the Prince at the centre of a royal crisis, today emerging from talks aimed at finding a way for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to step back from royal life. Tonight, the Queen is voicing her support, but admitting it was not what she wanted. Although we would have preferred them to remain full-time working members of the royal family, she said, we respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family, while remaining a valued part of my family. A tone less like the sovereign, more like a grandmother, using the word family 8 times and naming them like the rest of us. Harry and Meghan have made clear that they do not want to be reliant on public funds in their new lives. It has therefore been agreed that there'll be a period of transition in which the Sussexes will spend time in Canada and the UK.
She's absolutely is a pragmatist. She would not be looking at going in there, pointing fingers. The Queen would not look back. She'd be looking forward.
Just ahead of today's meeting, a glimpse of unity. Prince William and Harry pushing back against rumours that Harry was bullied out of the royal family. For brothers who care so deeply about the issues surrounding mental health, the use of inflammatory language in this way is offensive and potentially harmful. And David, there is still so much to work out. Will the couple keep their royal titles? Where are they going to live? And crucially, how are they going to pay their way? The Queen has said she wants this sorted in days and not weeks.
All right, you saw right there, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle don't want to be in the limelight, but some people say they want to be pampered, but they want a separate independent life. Then people wonder like what they're gonna do with them being independent, how they're gonna be a make on their own. Some are saying that they have used their social media influencers and they use their name as a brand and take speaking engagements and stuff. But it's still gonna be hard at the end of the day. We want to hear what you people had to say out there. So we'll include people in the media, and what people are talking about Prince Harry and Meghan leaving UK and wanting separate independent lives. Watch this.
Everything that she went through and what happened to her is incredibly raw every single day. And that's not me being paranoid. That's just me not wanting a repeat of the past. And if anybody else knew what I knew, be it a father, be it a husband, be it anyone, you'd probably be doing exactly what I'm doing as well.
He was talking about his mother and his wife, and he said, if you knew what I knew, we will never know this full story, but this is not a controlling wife getting him to leave his family. You can hear it.
He's genuinely terrified. And actually, William's been terrified as well. He's been very, very protective of Kate and their children. But this is Prince Harry obviously taking it to a different level. He's the spare, as it were. William's the heir, so he knows his way forward. So Prince Harry has always had a little bit more leeway, but now he really is taking it to the next level, going, look, Meghan and I need to put our happiness first and our safety first.
I know you bring the point of, William and Kate have gone through their journey, but is there any comparison to what we are seeing Meghan Markle endure as being a commoner, as being Black, as being an American? Is it comparable to anything?
It is all very unprecedented, and you saw that in the Queen's statement. She's busy being a grandmother there. The Queen became Queen in 1952, February 1952, and if you think back, if you watched the first season of The Crown, it was all His and Her Royal Highness and all very, very formal. And the Queen in that statement is saying, look, this is my grandson. I'm here to help him. Obviously, he's fragile. Obviously, there's that state of mind. Also, don't forget, this is a human story for the Queen. She's 93 years old. She's very much loved. She's had to deal with Brexit. She's had to deal with Prince Andrew and all that disappointment. And also her husband. Her husband, Prince Philip, is 99 this year. And a lot of people at home, you have to look after older ones, the seniors in their family. No, it's very hard looking after someone, who's almost 100. So she's got a lot to cope with at 93.
So who is Meghan Markle's support system at this point? For Harry as well, are they really on their own? Prince William released a statement basically saying, it's a quote, "I can no longer put my arms around my brother." That, I have a brother, and we all talk about family here. Forget that, well, you can't forget they're royal. Let's not be crazy. They are royal, but to hear him say, "I can no longer put my arm," I thought about that scene of them walking behind their mother's casket. And now he's saying, "I can't put my arms around you anymore."
Well, that was supposedly a friend. That wasn't a direct quote from William.
Yeah.
And actually, William and Harry yesterday put a joint statement out saying there had been a story that William was busy bullying Harry, and they put about a joint statement out going, absolutely not.
So there's no divide between them?
They're trying to help Harry. Obviously, all members of the family wanted Harry and Meghan to remain very much central to the royal family. The Queen says it in their statement. That was part of Prince Charles's vision when he becomes king, that both his sons would be front and centre, along with their wives. But obviously, they want to have their own path. So the royals are busy trying to make that happen and help that happen. But it's complicated.
You're an insider. It's complicated. So let's just go through the line. So there's no divide between the brothers. Is that true or false?
I think there are certainly arguments have gone on. But
About
at the same
what?
time, they want to help because William obviously wants Harry to remain as part of the family. But there's always a difference. William is the heir. He knows his way forward. He knows his path. It's always throughout history, the spare, as it were, that's Harry. There's always struggled to find their own way. In most recent history, Princess Margaret, and you saw it with Prince Andrew. But William has a vested interest in making sure that Harry and Meghan are okay here because his children, Louis and Charlotte, are going to be facing this situation in 20 years' time.
That's a good point.
He needs to make sure that they're okay.
Now, looking ahead for Meghan and Harry, financially, what are the rules of engagement here? What is the branding? There have been rumors that they're going to write a book, that they would go on tour, that they could monetize off the brand that they've built. Is that the case?
Or monetize being a member of the royal family. That's always been very, very tricky, and other royals have struggled with that. What I always say to Americans is one of the reasons why you love the royal family so much is because you don't have to pay for them. When you did have to pay for them, you got rid of the royals pretty quickly. You were like, no, see you later, Britain. But obviously in Britain, it's very different. The royal family, they're not celebrities, they're public servants. And the sort of deal is, okay, you do all the duties, and for that you get the palaces and the clothes and, your servants and so.
Now, in the UK, millions of people tune into Good Morning Britain to watch Piers Morgan deliver the news, but you're just as likely to find him in the headlines.
From his views on the royal drama to Australia's bushfire crisis, he's not afraid to speak out, and this morning he is our special guest. And Piers Morgan joins me now from London. Piers, great to have you on Sunrise. Look, I used to think you had an extra crime for Meghan Markle. I was team Meghan. I thought you were just a grumpy old man because she didn't want to be a friend. But I must admit, I'm starting to see where you're coming from. Have you noticed a lot of more people like me changing their view on her?
I'm afraid I have, David. Yes, I'm afraid that you can't say I didn't warn you. I always believe in the phrase, if someone shows you who they are, then believe them. And the reason I keep repeating my experience with Meghan Markle is I genuinely found it quite shocking. We were friends for about 18 months, and then she came to London. We met up in my local pub. We had a great time, and she went on Twitter and said how great it was to catch up with friends in London, and included me. And then that was the last I ever heard from her. She met Prince Harry, and like so many other people, bang. And then what happened was quite interesting. Through the engagement and the wedding, she got universal praise, including for me. I was like, whatever's happened with my friendship with her, I think she's going to be good news for the royal family. But then around the time of the wedding, you may remember, with all the stuff around her dad, who she disowned, her family, none of whom came to the wedding, then all these stories about what she did to her ex-husband, that she effectively fired him by sending him through the mail his rings. And then loads of other people saying, well, she ghosted me, she dumped me, she ditched me. And it really cemented in me a feeling that Meghan Markle is not quite what she seems, that she's actually somebody who I think is a pretty ruthless social climber who has spent her life using people and moving on and ditching them. And it's an unpleasant trait. What makes it more serious now is that having basically got rid of her own family, she now appears to be trying to get rid of Harry from his family. And I think that is a dangerous moment for the royal family and for the monarchy.
Yeah. And look, we can compare it to Yoko Ono, sort of break out the Fab Four. But some of the blame has got to be with Harry, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, completely. Listen, Harry's not blameless. The difference is that when you criticise Meghan, you get accused of being racist, even if you're not remotely racist, like me. And if you criticise Harry, no one says, well, you're being gingerist because he has ginger hair. But there's a difference in the way that criticism of the two is treated. And my issue with Harry is he's so weak over all this. I quite predicted and understand why Meghan Markle finds royal duty stifling and boring and wants to be a global Hollywood superstar. But Harry was born into this, and he should know better than most people that in return for all the servants and the palaces and the luxury life, that actually you have to perform what's called duty. That is what the royal family do. That's why they exist. They perform public duty. And it seems to me what these two now want is they want all their cake and all the royal trimmings, but they don't want to have to work for it in the way that other royals do. That is not acceptable.
So you're saying make the decision, cut and dry. Don't try and have your cake and eat it. A lot of young Brits are saying, well, why shouldn't they lead their own life? Quite rightly, you're saying, OK, if you're going to do that, don't leverage your position and your title with the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, Meghan Markle was completely unknown before she met Harry in Britain, for example, and probably Australia. Unless you watched Suits, her show in America, you had no idea who she was when she came to my local pub. Nobody recognised her. Now she's one of the most recognisable people in the world purely because she married into our royal family. If she now leaves and goes around the world making millions and tens of millions of dollars out of that royal connection, that will leave a pretty unpleasant taste in the mouth. Young people get very influenced these days by Twitter. It's a very liberal skewed, youthful, woke, progressive platform. But Twitter's always wrong about everything.
Never thought I'd hear Piers Morgan use the word woke. But anyhow, let's move on. You've also had our Prime Minister in your sights over the bushfire crisis. You recently made headlines here after a really fiery debate on your show with one of our senior MPs. What's your message to Scott Morrison about the bushfires?
Well, my first message was, what the hell were you thinking going on holiday to Hawaii as your country is engulfed in flames? My second message is, get real about climate change. You know, I'm not saying that climate change was the only reason for these fires. Australia's had fires for centuries. But there's absolutely no doubt when you listen to all the firefighters involved and all the scientists and the experts that the scale and ferocity of these fires that Australia is now seeing is directly and inarguably linked to the heating up of the planet. It's making it a lot worse. So Scott Morrison and Mr. Kelly and the others need to wake up and recognise the reality.
OK, can he survive this? Can he rebuild his stocks? He's plunged in the opinion polls.
I would be very surprised if he ends up surviving this for one reason. The point of leaders is you have to lead in times of crisis. Anyone can do it when things are going well. Anyone can be prime minister or president when everything's hunky-dory. But when you're facing one of the most calamitous disasters in the history of modern Australia, and your reaction is to go and lie on a beach, and then your reaction is to completely deny any link with the bleeding obvious as to why this may be so bad, I think you make your own position untenable. I've seen the reaction of Australian people as Scott Morrison has been going around on his travels trying to belatedly be a leader. They're having none of it, and I don't blame them. The British Prime Minister had behaved like he had done in a situation like this, he'd be gone.
But a lot of Australians are saying, what gives you the right to comment on our Prime Minister when you've got this clown Boris Johnson in the top job in Britain who brought on Brexit, the Brexit vote, then resigned and said, oh, don't leave it up to me to push it through, then all of a sudden comes back on as a knight in shining armour.
Well, I don't think Boris Johnson is a clown. He's a very smart guy, and he won a thumping majority in the election. And although I didn't personally vote for Brexit and don't really agree with Brexit, he certainly did agree with it and did campaign for it and has now delivered on his promise to actually get Brexit done. The Parliament voted last week to proceed with Brexit. So, I give Boris Johnson credit for showing leadership in direct contrast to Scott Morrison. And when it comes to talking about each other's countries, let's be honest, you guys wouldn't have a show without us Brits.
All right, yeah. Well, one of your other colleagues said Australia wasn't fit to be inhabited last week, which got under our skin a little bit.
Listen, I love Australia. Notwithstanding the fact that the last time I was in Australia, Brett Lee spread eagled my ribs in a net at Melbourne and did a test match, which I think was a fairly notorious blimp in cricket history in Australia. I love Australia, love Australian people, and I feel we're very connected, despite the fact you're obviously all from our convicts.
Yeah. All right. That is getting so old now. Look, we love talking to you. You're a bit of a polarising figure, not a bit, a big polarising figure in the UK. Has there been a moment where you think you've ever gone too far?
There was a moment a few months ago when I thought I was wrong about something, but it turned out I was wrong.
All right, with Piers Morgan, with that, we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
This morning, an unprecedented royal summit. The Queen calling an emergency family meeting with Prince Charles, William and Harry behind closed doors here at the Queen's private home in Sandringham to talk about next steps after Harry's bombshell announcement that he and his wife Meghan will be stepping back from their duties as senior royals. Meghan, who flew back to Canada on Friday to be with 8-month-old Archie, is believed to be joining them by phone.
This is the first time that all four have come together in the same room. People say that Harry's torn. For him, the most important thing is his family. For the couple, it's just about preserving their mental health, remaining happy, and being able to work in an environment that suits them best.
It's thought the royal meeting will cover everything from Harry and Meghan's titles to security and any financial deals the couple is likely to make in order to become financially independent.
In terms of earning money, they'll be looking at the Obamas and how their life was for financial independence when they moved out of the White House through clever speaking engagements and maybe even a book. And that's how Harry and Meghan plan to make their money moving forward.
British paper The Sunday Times claims that William has reached out to a friend about his state of mind. The future king allegedly saying, "I've put my arm around my brother all our lives, and I can't do that anymore. I'm sad about that." Rumours of unrest between the brothers have swirled for months, Harry opening up about reports of a rift to ITV's Tom Bradby in a documentary, Harry and Meghan, An African Journey, last October.
How much of that is true?
Stuff happens, but look, we're brothers. We'll always be brothers.
Meghan also opening up to Bradby about struggling when she joined the family.
It's not enough to just survive something, right? Like, that's not the point of life. You've got to thrive. You've got to feel happy. And I think I really tried to adopt this British sensibility of a stiff upper lip.
It has its advantages, I guess.
I really tried. But I think that what that does internally is probably really damaging.
Bradby now looking back at that interview.
Around the time of that documentary, some of the angst and the anger in the background, I was genuinely shocked that it had got that bad. My best guess is they wanted that, I think, to be a bit of a pressure release valve. I think they wanted it as an indication of if they ever made the announcement, which we've now seen, that there would be some preparing the ground.
Do you think at that point that 2 months down the line, at the turn of the year, Harry and Meghan will be announcing that they want, pretty much that they want out?
Yeah, I did think that.
And Tom Bradby had also said that he has a sense of what the couple would say if they were in an interview about this situation, that he said, quote, "It wouldn't be pretty." But William and Harry are at least finding some common ground this morning. In a joint statement, they've disputed allegations from a British newspaper which is reporting that Harry is leaving the royal family because he was being bullied by William. They said that this language is inflammatory and it is offensive and potentially harmful. George?
All right, you saw right there, Prince Harry and Meghan. A lot of people are highly favored for it, and a lot of people are highly mad over it. it's a whole middle where people are angry on this side and people are mad, but you know, it's only what Prince Harry and Meghan want to do. And you can respect that, but at the same time, you know, a lot of people are saying about Meghan Markle, like, you knew you was named Prince Harry, you should have knew who you signed up for. And you can feel that, but at the end, does she know what she signed up for, and does she know there's a price to everything that matters? So we're gonna follow the story. Even the Queen had said this in a statement that she supports their decision. She's you know, she's gonna do what she can. Even the Queen, you can tell she's a little bit perturbed, but knowing the Queen at her age, she gotta take care of her ailing husband, who's almost 100. Wow, 100 years old. Wow, more power to that man. More power to the Queen. She's 93. Wow, more power to them. They don't need to be on that stress like that with Harry and Meghan and stuff like that. But you tell us what you think out there. Is the Queen making the right choice, or is the Queen, or Prince Harry and Meghan going over their heads, or is this the right thing for them to do for their family? You let us know here on Vow. I'll be your host, Kenny Dick, saying so long. See you next time here on Vow.